Hello and welcome back to the FMA Next Gen Cup Series. I am James Watson, joined as always by my broadcast partner Kobe Jordan, and we are at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, or artist formerly known as Gateway. This is going to be one heck of a race tonight here. It's not the easiest track in the world. We saw a pretty clean race last week at Iowa. You know, Iowa isn't an easy track in and of itself either, but we saw a lot more green flag racing, so hopefully everyone will be able to continue and build upon that for tonight at Gateway. And here is the track facts. Open all the way in 1996. It is 1 1/4 mile, basically a slightly smaller Darlington looking track, but drives much differently than the lady in black. Qualifications are just about wrapping up here. Here are the point standings. Brock Morris, after a phenomenal tire whispering witchcraft win at Iowa, he holds an 8-point advantage over Nigel Steele, who was the point leader for pretty much the entirety of the season up to that point. Ryan Peters holds on to third, with Cody Brewer and Tiffany Ellis rounding out the top 5. William Gay, Zach Tankersley, James Ifa, Chase Matsuko, and Mark Osier rounding out the top 10. And team points, we have Resurrection Racing continuing to lead, with In the Fence Racing in second, Mach 10 in third, Dumber and Dumbest in fourth, Ramrod Motorsports in fifth, Threshold Motorsports in sixth, and good old Throat Cloggers bringing up the rear in P7. But now it's time to cut to the starting grid. Your pole sitter, Matt Mars, with a phenomenal run to pole in the 34 car, with Uncle Take, Zach Tankersley, next to him on P2 in the number 2. On row 2, we have the 68 of Evan Gilmet and the 26 of Chase Matsuko next to him. On row 3, we have the 829 of Cody Deek and the 29 of Nick Tucker. Row 4 features the 03 of Jeremy Eschelman and the 5 of Ryan Peters. Rounding out the top 10, we have the 4 of Chase Bullard and the 033 of Austin Smith. Row 6, we have the 22 of Cody Brewer and the 8 of Nigel Steele. The 3 of Paul Wentline and the 034 of James Tankersley on row 7. Row 8 has the 87 of Tiffany Ellis and the 25 of Kelly Akron. Jacob Brown in the 13 next to the 888 of James White on row 9. James Efa in the 88 and Brock Morris, your championship leader, in the 05, rounding out the top 20. Mark Osier in the 117/ number 12 and the 317 on Jay Davis on row 11. And then rounding out the field is the 24 of Mike Rowland. See, everyone is off and away on the starting grid, and we are already about ready to get at it. Only one pace lap here, at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And how about it, Kobe? Let's get a quick word from you. What are you looking forward to tonight for this one?
Good evening, James. Good evening, viewers. I'm looking forward to some hard passes. You and I did a broadcast here last night for a different series, and we saw exactly that. So I'm expecting no different today with these cars, given the fact that they're actually harder to pass than the V8 supercar is. So look for guys getting frustrated, guys actually maybe stepping outside their box and making mistakes. But I'll shut up now because you got to call a race.
Absolutely. The pace truck makes a hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Matt Mars will lead us to the green flag. Green means go. We're underway at Gateway. A huge jump off of the line for Mars, and that's going to give him all alone entry into turn one. Exactly what he wants to see, and Guillemette going to follow him through into second. Well, we got a car going around. It's the 29, Nick Tucker. And caution is out, and it looks like it's going to be a single car incident. Oh boy. Yeah, I can't tell you that I'm too surprised to see that, just because this track isn't the easiest to deal with. You see, just around goes the 29. See, good job from everyone to avoid him from behind, keeping it just a single car incident. I imagine we're going to see a lot of cars on pit road right now, because I think there might have been an incident pulling away from the starting grid. I heard a few of the drivers talking to each other about it, and I see some damage from the front of a few cars and the rear of a few cars. And another thing to talk about, the reason why the pole sitter got such a good start is because he got a black flag for jumping the start. Heartbreak for Matt Mars, a phenomenal qualifying effort, up in flames, just jumping a little too early. That is heartbreak for the number 34. My goodness, but yeah, I'm seeing some damage to the back of the 5 of Ryan Peters. It looks like it's punched in pretty significantly, and then I think one of the turquoise cars, it also has some rear end damage. I think it might be the 03 of Eshelman. So, and I think there was another car or two that has some front end damage, but not quite able to see it off of any of the cars right now. But how about it, Kobe? This already a lot of stuff going on, and we haven't even completed a lap under green.
Yeah, I'm not very surprised either. The cars are going to be loose. The track is considerably hot. I mean, that's hot enough for me. If I was out there, I'm sure I'd be sliding around. But I think we're going to see another bit of this until the track cools down. Until that happens, these guys are going to have a handful to play with in their cockpit.
Yeah, track temp is 105 degrees, which isn't too terribly hot considering this is Missouri in May. There's definitely a lot hotter, but 105 degrees, it certainly isn't cool either. So it's definitely something that they're going to have to deal with and worry about. As I believe we are 1 to green and about ready to get back at it here. Single file restart. And yep, lights are out on the pace truck. And it just made the hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Evan Guillemette will lead us back to the restart zone. Green means go, and we are back underway at Gateway. Oh, we got some checking up going on in the back. Couple cars having to go way wide to avoid calamity. And because of that, we're already going to be 3 wide here going into turn 1. Oh boy, so far so good. Everyone is hanging on to it. Oh, someone made a little bit of contact into the wall off of turn 2. As we see Matt Mars serving his drive-through. Oh no, contact! James White into the 5 of Ryan Peters, and Ryan Peters is around into the wall. Man, not sure what in the world happened on that. Just looked like the 888. I don't know if he was trying to go on to pit road and just airmailed the braking zone or what, but absolutely cleaned out the 5 of Ryan Peters. Just wrong place, wrong time. That one of the weirder incidents we're gonna see. I have no idea. Only a 2-car incident, thankfully, but yeah, that's probably a fair amount of repairs to do on that 5 car. A nightmare start to the night for Ryan Peters. I think we're gonna go ahead and get our first commercial break of the night in, and we will be back shortly.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Alrighty, we are back and about ready to get back at it. See lights off on the pace truck. Everyone just trying to get a little bit of heat into the tires as Ryan Peters has unfortunately called it a night. Unfortunate for the 5 who was fairly up in the point standings. That's going to be a huge hit to his championship hopes. So we see the pace truck making the hard left-hand turn on a pit road. Evan Guillemette will once again lead us to the restart zone. Green means going. We are back underway at Gateway. You see already, it's like the 03 Eshelman looking to the inside of Deke. A single file, but a whole lot of double file there towards the back of the field. Saw Tiffany Ellis getting real close to the outside wall coming off of turn 2. Right now, Evan Guillemette has a whole lot of company. Got Tankersley all over the back of the 68 car. Tankersley looking for the clean air, went high, maybe went a little too high, gives the inside to Deke, but gonna hold him off for now. See Tankersley trying to look to the inside, but once again, he's gonna have to worry. Oh no, we got a car sideways! Matt Mars in the 24 hard to the outside wall. The incident started with the contact into the 34, but the 24 ended up getting the worst end of it as he ended up straight into the wall and annihilating the right front of that 24 car. You're going to see, oh, it locks up into 3, into the 34, can't gather it back up into the wall, and that might be a night over for the 24 of Mike Rowland, but that ended up as about as good as you could hope for if you're Matt Mars. I don't think there's much, if any, damage on that 34 car. And now it looks like we might... Okay, they are in fact keeping it single file. We're gonna go ahead and get one more quick break in and we will be back shortly.
Nascar can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at him. They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging. And to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
All right, we are back. Perfect time for the pace truck to make its hard left-hand turn. And Guillemette leads us to the restart zone once again. And green means go. We're back underway at Gateway. See, oh, we're already 3, almost 4 wide in the back, coming to turn 1. Matt Mars jumping to the outside, trying to make some positions. He's going to shoot the gap through turn 2. What a move by Matt Mars. Wow, as you see Matt trying to make the pass on Ellis. Ellis is going way wide. Meanwhile, we got a battle for the lead. Tankersley and Guillemette are side by side. Tankersley trying to send the slide job down into turn 1, not quite able to clear. Guimet keeps it to the outside. Tankersley has him clear now. What a move from Uncle Tank to get the lead of this race. And here comes Doak trying to do the same thing again. Deke all the way alongside Guimet. Oh, a little bit of leaning on each other. They're side by side off of 4. And Tankersley is loving what he's seeing, trying to run away. Deke trying to do the same thing that Tankersley did. Guimet going wide, trying to maximize the momentum off of the corner, and he's going to do just that. Deke will tuck back in for now, but he looks to the inside of the 68 again. Oh, a big run through the center of the corner, and he might have the 68 cleared. He does. Wow. My goodness, Cody Deke turning on the afterburners through the center of 3 and 4, gets him up into second. Meanwhile, we're going to be 3 wide into turn 1 towards the back. Whoa, near contact with the 034 and the 29. Man, look at Osier trying to get some spots. Matt Mars on the recovery. He's in the middle of a hornet's nest right now. Still, oh no, contact with Osier and Tankersley. And James Tankersley is in the wall, and caution is back out. And that might be night done for James Tankersley.
A bit of unfortunate happenings out early stages of the race, though. And drivers are going to be taking a look. So let's take a look at that replay. As all looks to be running fine. Heads down, well, heads up to the midline. Looking to try and secure back to the high line. Getting the car all together, unfortunately clipped in the rear. Sent towards the barrier and bang, crash, thud. That's all she wrote. Rear suspension taking a hard impact. And unfortunately, nothing but a tow needed to get back towards the pits. I mean, James, this is absolute madness. As far we're under yellows, and drivers are now needing to just calm down, settle the pace back, and see what we can do heading back under racing conditions in just a couple of laps' time.
Absolutely. That was one heck of a green flag run we got there. Some phenomenal passing being done. So far, it doesn't look like anyone's considering taking tires, and I don't blame them at all. Not a whole lot of green flag running on these tires. Plus, as you've already seen, passing is at a premium, and passing is always at a premium when you come to Gateway.
And when it comes down to a safety car, this is a set, reset, get yourself going. And also, all the heat that you just generated in those tires now getting lost so quickly. And drivers will have to try and figure out different ways to try and improve that, try and ensure you can maintain heat, or whether they're going to take earlier pit stops. I think for lap 20 out of 100, the sum they come by is going to be way too early to get a pit stop done, dusted. And I don't foresee anyone taking a cheap pit stop right now at this stage of the race, but there is still a possibility of what needs to be done moving forward.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the mindset is going to be from the 68 car when we get back green. Dominated pretty much the entirety of the early going, but losing first and second to Tankersley and Cody Deke. And so see what happens with the 68, see if he tries to get those spots back. And see if it was maybe just him trying to take care of the tires ever so. As we are already getting ready to get back to it. 1 to green.
Keep an eye on the safety car. Everyone trying to keep an eye going forward. Who on earth is going to be quick off the button to ensure that they are ready for the race? This is always a nervous part, James, and I would say this is the one part you do not want to be sitting in for too long, and that's behind the safety car. You start thinking, what can I do to get quicker? What do I need to do to stay at the sharp end of the field? But at the same time, what if I'm not the quickest off a line, and suddenly have a variety of incredibly quick drivers able to get off a line far better than myself.
Absolutely, and those questions are going to be answered as the pace truck makes a hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Zach Tankersley will lead us back to the restart zone. Green means go. We're back underway at Gateway. And there is a big checkup. Oh, sorry to cut you off there, Steven, but a big checkup in the center of the field. Now Brock Morris making a big send on Wentline, trying to make up some positions. That's someone that we haven't really talked about at all. The points leader having a horrific qualifying effort, trying to make his way up through the field. Only up to P9 is the 05. So you see on board, wow, that car, that 13 car is seen some things. That is a massive center punch and some speed loss there.
Unfortunately, having to go and hook straight into every slipstream possible to try and pull himself a little bit further up a field. Many of the drivers trying everything they can to see if they can keep up with the top train, as we start to see small split-offs during the course of this race. And at the moment, it's going to be a tough time, even for the 12, needing to just run a little bit on the low line, try and pick up any sort of pace, and also see if you can move a bit further up a field without losing too much time.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, up front, Tankersley continues to lead, holds about a half a second advantage over the 829 of Cody Deek. So far, about half a second separates all top 4 positions right now. As I say that, a big send from Cody Deek into turn 3, trying to get some of that. Almost too much of a send, but he made it stick and got himself a couple of tenths for his effort. So you see him running a much different line than the 2 car. See, Tankersley, you know, Steven, when it comes to Gateway, I've always seen a couple schools of thoughts when it comes to going through turn 1 and 2. You see some guys that like to take that wide entry in and then cut straight off, kind of cut low towards the exit of the corner, trying to maximize the speed off. Some like to turn in early and just wrap that curve the whole way through. And you're seeing both of those styles on display perfectly from those two. Tankersley going high, cutting low, Deek just wrapping the curve perfectly. It's a sight to behold.
Everyone trying to find just an inch of line that works out for them, that can move them up, but also you got to be so careful not to burn the tires down too early. We're on lap 25 of 100. When it comes down to the pit stops, that's where we see things flipping straight onto their head. Tankersley so far has had an advantage, but the question is, can that advantage stay around once the pit stops get in? When you've got people like Deek, Guillemette, and Ismail falling down in 3rd and 4th position, they're just waiting and biding their chances at this stage.
Yeah, methinks that Guillemette may have burned his tires off a little too much, holding on to the lead in the early goings, because he is 2+ seconds off of the lead duo and looking to hold off of Eshelman right behind. Right now, Brock Morris is continuing to not really make a whole lot of ground, holding on to P7 right now, which is a stark contrast to what we saw last week, Steven, of him just cutting through the field like a hot knife through butter, like it was nothing.
Now, I've got a question. With this being said, and everyone looking that they're a bit more calm this round at the moment, do you think that this is just everyone waiting, biding their chances, and just playing a little bit of a long game? No real major overtakes, no real big dives at this stage, just trying to protect the tires, protect the fuel, and trying to figure out what the next driver ahead of you is busy doing.
I think you could say something like that. I think everyone might have a good understanding of what their cars are doing right now, or just trying to nurse them as best as they can, because there's a lot of wounded warriors out there. I'm looking at damage on the 4 Chase Bullard, 29 Nick Tucker. OCA's got some damage. A lot of cars just trying to do their best. A massive center punch on the 22 of Cody Brewer. So yeah, they're just trying to do what they can. I'm surprised we haven't seen a lot of them on pit road trying to get that fixed. Track like Gateway, it's very aero sensitive and aero dependent.
That being said, you want to spend as little time in the pit lane as possible. I think every single one of the drivers are just trying to limp their way through before getting down into the pit lane unnecessarily. But it is still a major pull from the top. Tankersley and Deke have completely run a 3.5 second gap away from third place. And at the moment, that is more than happy for them to do so. Big points at play for them. However, once the pit stops come in, it's the ultimate equalizer as we do take a look back through the field. An ongoing fight for the 3. And this is Mars trying to go down the inside, hoping to carry a lot of pace. The 34 wanting to do everything possible. Mars trying to hold the line. Gets it in low, trying to stay as low as possible. Gets onto the gas early. It's still side by side, and in the background, a little bit of contact with the wall.
Yeah, you saw Chase Bullard and getting a little too up close and personal with the turn 4 wall, and it's not that hard to do. The exit at turn 4 here at Gateway is a bit. Oh, see OCA get the wall, and that's gonna allow the 033 Austin Smith to try to get by. He's going to make the move, and OCA got a bump from Bullard. That's going to put both of them in the wall, and one more bump to OCA for good measure, and now they're both just beating and banging on each other. Oh no, they take Chase Matsuko with them. Oh no. Oh man.
That brings out our caution, but let's quickly take a look at that. So it all started going wrong. 12 into the wall. Coming back. Sees the 51. Gets knocked. There's the second slam. Comes down. Third slam coming. And unfortunately, 26 nowhere to go. And became part of the accident. Not what you want to see. Unfortunately, number of cars now looking a little bit worse for wear. And our safety car boards are out. Everyone's going to have to slow up and get back towards the safety car. This could be a cheap pit stop for some. For others, it's a bit of a nightmare. For Tankerley and Deke, the little room they had to Guillemot, unfortunately, cut down by a significant margin just from that second safety car.
Yeah, that is. It seemed like tempers might have gotten the better of some out there, and unfortunately Chase Matsuko, absolutely innocent bystander. That you feel for the 26 so much right there. But not ideal at all. But let's talk about a big one. The entirety bar 2 cars diving down into pit lane. Yeah, speaking of not ideal, I don't know what the 2 and the 829 were thinking right there, and are hoping to accomplish by staying out. Methinks they may have made a bit of a significant error on the strategy call right there. That is a choice.
Well, different way to do it, but now looks like the rest of the field got a new fresh set of boots on the cars, filled up a little bit better. Lap 35 of lap 100. Everyone running from third onwards. now has got themselves sorted out and will be underway with more than happy in better conditions for racing. Unfortunately for Tankersley and Deke, they're about to run into a whole herd of trouble behind the safety car as their competition now has got a pit stop ahead of them, the advantage to them, which helps Guillemette and Morris, who were running close together before the safety car. Bit of an odd choice. Now, I've got to ask the question, James. Do you feel that these two cars have the magic to keep going for Tankersley and Deke, or do you feel that they underestimated what the pit stop can do a little bit further on?
Yeah, I think they might have underestimated, because tire wear, especially at 100 plus degrees in Missouri here at Gateway, with how this track is, you're definitely putting a lot of wear on these tires. And they've had about 20 laps of a real good green flag run on those tires. They're gonna be in trouble, and saving a set of tires, you know, I don't know when you would really be able to use them, because you don't have a whole lot of laps to where everyone will have to pit and use those remaining tires so much, and you would have time to be able to run through the field on those extra set of tires. So I don't know how this is going to work. We're going to see as Tankersley will bring us back to the restart zone. Green means go. We're back underway at Gateway. Already we got a few people maybe jumping out of line here. Not the best restart, but so far so good. Right now, Tankersley holding tough, but keep an eye on that 68, and already Deke is going to be under fire from Guillemette. Looking to the inside. Go on, Steven.
I was going to say, Tanksy is trying to open up, but not a lot of room, though, as he's gone away from the field. Everyone else is now working on getting that slipstream, trying to pull themselves along. And I think Deke has realized that, hold on, I've got to work with the competitors around me to try close the gap and also protect a bit of fuel.
Absolutely, but here he goes, jumps to the outside of the 828, and he's going to get the pass done almost effortlessly. Here comes Guillemette to P2, trying to track down Tankersley for the race lead. And now Deke has to worry about the points leader, Brock Morris, right behind him. Morris is finally showing up. Here we go, big send from the 05, slides up a little bit. Does Deke have the speed off of the high line? He does. He's hanging to the outside. That's what he's got to do. He's got to hold that outside lane like his life depended on it, because right now it does. Oh, Morris tries to pull the slider, locks up the brakes into Deke. And that's going to get him the spot, and now Deke's going to be under fire from Nick Tucker. And now here comes Guillemette for the lead, looking to the inside of the two. Tankersley shuts the door for now.
Trying to guard the line every which way possible. Sword and shield at the helm and everything to try and stay at the lead. Tankersley under some serious fire from cars that have been well fueled and also got some new rubber on them under that cheap pit stop. Will Tankersley be able to have the stamina to keep it going, or is he going to get outdone with grip?
Yeah, the biggest advantage Tankersley has is arguably the biggest advantage: clean air, especially when it comes to the next gen at a track like Gateway. Clean air is worth its weight in gold. This is the only way this strategy is going to work. He has to hold on to the lead. He's got to do everything he can to keep the 68 back and make him burn up those fresh tires. It's the only way. If he loses this lead and falls back, he's going to free fall. But right now, the clean air continues to prevail for the two. Meanwhile, we're nearly 3 wide. Seeley looking to the outside of Deke, but Guillemette looking to the inside of Tankersley. Zach trying to hold on. He will not. Evan will take the lead of this race. And now here comes Brock Morris trying to make it too. Brock has inside position. And I don't know if Zach is going to be able to hold him off here. Tankersley has all the dirty air from Gilmet in front. And there it is. Easiest pass Morris will make all day.
Morris going and moving cleanly up through the fight, allowed the battle to happen, and just utilized a little bit more grip out there. Now for Tanksley, he's going to be barreling down the order. The question is, can Gilmet now keep up with the pressure from Morris? He's used to going and chasing, but now is getting chased down for the lead. As the fight's ongoing down the grid, drivers still trying to give it that extra little bit of push as we're at lap 44 of 100. And drivers trying to see what can be done to stay at the sharp end of the field.
Yeah, and now the advantage switches to Gilmet. He's got the golden ticket of that clean air. And we know how quick Brock Morris is. We know how good that 05 can make his way through traffic. But again, at a track like Gateway, that clean air is tough to fight against. As long as Gilmet can keep in front of the 05, it's going to be tough for Morris to take the lead of this race. Oh no, we got the 317 going around. Jay Davis. And caution is out.
Big impact for the 317. And hopefully we can take a look at what on earth happened as we get to our instant replay. Going up high side, comes down low. Did the rear just snap out underneath?
Oh, he got help. Yeah, the 25 of, I believe that's Kelly Akron, gave him a little bit of help. The Viagra car a little too eager on that one.
Oh no, what a blow.
That it was. But we're going to go ahead and get another break in, and we will be back shortly.
There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Alrighty, we are back and about ready to get back at it. Gonna be just short of halfway. Evan Gilmet continues to lead this race.
Unfortunately, 3 safety cars into the race thus far, and drivers starting to waver on, okay, are we going to carry on racing? Are we going to slow down? What is going to be the game plan here? And this is always the hardest part, I feel, for any of our drivers, is to try and figure out what is going to be the game plan. How much are you willing to go? How much do you need to keep moving forward? And also, when the incidents are behind you, what is the field going to do as we get ready under green flag conditions? And it's going to be Gilmet in the 68 taking center stage. He's getting chased down by Morris, and Tucker holding on for third.
Yes, sir. Good restart for Gilmet as he tries to build a gap for Morris. And now your eyes turn to what Tankersley can do on those fresher tires, finally bringing it in, but it's not going to be that much of an advantage lap-wise compared to those that currently lead this race. And in fact, it looked like Cody Deek was able to get ahead of him on those pit stops. So that's one more spot Tankersley is going to have to make up as Morris is all over the back of Gilmet. He's got to make hay while the sun shines, and we're side by side for the lead off of turn 2. Oh, Gilmet, I think he might have brushed the wall ever so slightly. And here comes Nick Tucker. Nick Tucker looped it off of 2 on the opening lap of the race, but don't ask him that. The way he's running, it's like it never happened at all as Morris continues to hold the inside. Gilmet fighting hard on the outside. Whoa, almost leaning on each other through 3 and 4. 68 is gonna have the speed off of the corner. Oh, and I think he scraped the wall once again.
Pushing a little too hard, really trying to find every little bit of grip, every inch of grip they can find. Morris down low once again, got some pace. Gilmet nearly getting checked up in the door as Morris now holds that low line, pushes himself up to midline, trying to see where he can get the drive. Every single one having an option to get into the lead, and for the latter half of this race, Morris and Gilmet throwing haymakers at one another. Tucker right behind, waiting for his opportunity to get into the mix, and do not count out Morris in the 34s there as well.
Yeah, Matt Mars on the ultimate comeback run. Started on pole, got himself a black flag for jumping the start, has got himself back up to P4 like you said, Steven. How about that if he can come away with the win after everything he's fought through as Gilmet continues to fight off Brock Morris. Morris is almost potentially losing P2 to Tucker. Whoa, Nick makes a little bit of contact himself. Morris not giving up 1 inch. See Gilmet running up, taking all that beautiful momentum from the middle line and continuing to hold bay. Morris, his time is running out to get this pass done. Sooner or later, the tires on that 05 are gonna overheat. But Gilmet, he is, but Evan Gilmet is ready. He's dealing with the challenge. He's fighting. Oh, but Gilmet slipped high, and that might be what more's needed. Oh, we got a car sideways in the back. It's Tiffany Ellis. Ellis is going to hang on to it. But you see the path for the lead. Evan Gilmet just went a little too high through 3 and 4, and that gave Brock Morris everything he needed. Unforced error. Go on, Steven.
I was going to say, charging his way up, but now he's got to try and figure out how to keep that pace, but has also burned a lot of his tires, now needing to see if he can open the gap just enough, try and maintain at least half a second. It will go and force Gilmet and Mars to battle out, giving Morse a little bit of time to cool the tires down from his fight earlier.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, the less I think we have to be worried on the condition of Brock Morris's tires after the hurting he put on them at Iowa. just 1 week ago. Is to see Matt Morris has gotten himself up into P3. Is looking to try to make it P2 here. Meanwhile, Zach Tankersley is not making the ground he needs to on his fresh tires, not even in the top 10 right now. Cody Deek has only gotten up into P8, and I think he might have been the one that got into Tiffany Ellis just a few laps prior with him apologizing over the radio. You see Morris is putting on the afterburners, almost a whole second over the field right now. The points leader is doing points leader things.
Now the question comes down to who has got the stamina to run the extra mile. And in this situation, James, who do you feel has got the ability to run the extra mile? Morris at the moment is going and keeping a consistent pace lap after lap, no longer doing just the fastest that he can, but he's also got a monster of a train starting to build up. Gilman has got a small gap between himself and Mars and Tucker, who are trying to bounce off one another, trying to pull themselves back in towards the mix. But for Morris, who holds first place in the 05, do you think he has enough in the tank to keep himself at the top spot? Or do you think that he's getting ready for a revolt to come back through him?
I'm not worried about Brock Morris one bit. I am curious to see what's going to happen with Guillemette now that he's kind of still dealing with the dirty air from Brock Morris and having Matt Mars all over the back of him and Nick Tucker all over the back of him. And you know that the 68 was fighting tooth and nail trying to hold on to the race lead, and whenever you run a higher line on iRacing, the more it wears your tires. So sooner or later, the ill effects of that lead battle is going to rear its ugly head on Guillemette. And I am just so impressed with Matt Mars and what he's been able to do, clawing his way back up into a top 3 position. It would not surprise me if he can get by the 68 up into P2, but unless something drastic happens, unless we get another caution, it's going to be tough to take the fight to the 05 right now.
Well, you best touch wood. With 19 laps to go, I don't think anyone wants to run into a yellow flag right now. Everyone wants to be still under full race way as we keep our foot firmly on the gas for the FMA Next Gen Series. Drivers still giving it the big push to see where they can go. And so far, not too much difference between each of the cars and their top speed. Everyone trying out to move forward. Morris at the moment is in clear air while the competition around him still fights it out as we keep an eye on the 8 and the 8-9 who are going and fighting out between one another. And that's Steely moving down as Cody Deek is able to jump up utilizing that low line. Deek hoping to get a little bit more of a run, closes the gap, gets a little bit of a bump draft on his way through in towards the corner. And we also see a little bit of movement further down as Jeremy Ishman and Uncle Tank go and take the fight to one another.
Oh! You see hard contact for Eshelman off of the exit of turn 2. That car probably isn't happy with that, but it's so hard to tell with this next gen car. You know, the composite bodies, it can take a licking and keep on ticking. Cody Deek makes hard contact with the exit of 4. That was a rough lap for teal colored race cars right there, but I tell you, Steven, it feels like you're having to spin the wheel on how much damage you're going to get if you make any sort of contact. Either you demolish the wall and the car's perfectly fine, or you brush a bug and the tone link is snapped in half and you have 8 minutes of required.
Gotta be so careful on where you're going to roll the dice on it. Ultimately, prefer not to get any damage and prefer not to run Snake Eyes. But take a look at Uncle Tank now right underneath likes of Steely, trying to see what he can do. Joel Steely holds on for a minor gap, but it is going to be Uncle Tank looking down to go low. Can he get that drive to work out in his favor? Late on the anchors, throws the car in. Uncle Tank moving up, and now is up into 7th position. Needs to try and slam the door shut. Austin is further up the road, but Joel tried to go down low, try to get that pass. Fortunately, just couldn't find the grip.
Yeah, you saw a bit of a pseudo slide job there from Tankersley. And Nigel Seeley trying to pull the crossover, clip the curb, and had to make a little bit of a maneuver to hold onto that thing. And thankfully for second place in points, the next gen Death Wobble did not rear its ugly head. To see Tankersley goes right by Austin Smith almost effortlessly. See battle further back here. Chase Bullard and Tiffany Ellis going at it. Chase Bullard surprised. Go on, Steven.
I was going to say, absolutely wonderful to see the drivers moving forward, trying to see what they can do. Also, PJ Wetline, the number 3 car, keep an eye on him. Top speed's been good and is in a close fight. He's also bringing Mark Osier a little bit closer into the fight. And I do think this battle heading up towards the top 10 is going to be one to keep an eye out for in the late parts of the race.
He also clapped the wall, something fierce the moment you pointed him out, but no worse for the wear. Meanwhile, up towards the front, Nick Tucker, it looks like starting to fall off the pace just a little bit. Cody Deek has made his way the 829 past the 29 up into P4, and Tankersley is not that far away from joining him.
Gap starting to open, drivers starting to get their rhythms, knowing that time is running out. Next time by, we're going to be losing, as we'll be on lap 70 out of 100, and I do feel there's more than one driver absolutely worn out here, trying to push themselves harder and harder, trying to get it across the line. The question is, who's got the stamina to run the extra mile, to go the extra mile here? Beautiful, beautiful oval. And the question is, who has got enough in the tank to stay right at the top? Worldwide Technology Raceway is never an easy circuit to be around, and has punished drivers for not knowing the extra lines, not knowing when to push hard. And so far, a few bumps and scratches we've seen in this race.
Oh!
Drivers,
Speaking of bumps and scratches, there's a few more on the 3 car. That one's gonna hurt.
PJ, unfortunately, going and testing the new paintwork, and I've got to say, no major movements with inside his rig is a good tell.
Yeah, I believe that the picture-in-picture, that is inside the rig of our 3rd place runner of Matt Mars. And let me tell you, Steven, I am totally not jealous at all. Nope, no siree. Totally not envious of that super epic, awesome, mega rig. Certainly, totally not cool. Yeah.
Yep, now I feel the same. They have triple screens, the indicators to show which gear you're in, where there's people getting past. It's just absolutely an incredible setup that can really help one out. And yeah, I'll just go and push the Logitech off to one side. Incredible stuff, and massive thank you to our producer giving us all these cameras, shots going and sneaking cameras into our different drivers' rigs and making sure that we get to see all the happenings behind the scene. Question is now, who can stay at the top of the pack?
And so far, the top of the pack continues to be Brock Morris, opened up about a 1.5 lead over Gilmet. We are just about to a quarter left to go in this race.
Lap 73 heads to lap 74 out of 100. Brock Morris still holds on to the lead. Evan Gilmet followed by Matt Mars, Cody Deek, Uncle Tank, Nick Tucker, Jeremy Ishman, along with Austin Smith and Jacob Brown in 9th. Rounding out your top 10 currently is Nigel Steele. But its fight is still going on amongst the field. Drivers are not in a comfortable spot as we take a look at Jacob Brown. He is now trying to slowly but surely move his way up through the order and feeling a lot of pressure from the 8 of Steele. So this is going to be a tough one. As so far, Steele in the 8 keeps the pressure. The 13 just right ahead of him, trying to close up the distance. Austin Smith diving down into pit lane, coming in out of 12 into the pit lane, along with the Wetland is into the pits as well. Chase Diller currently sits in pit lane for the duration thus far.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that. I figured we would have been good to go on fuel maybe, but apparently not, at least for the 033. Kobe, can you tell when the last time Austin Smith brought it down pit lane? See, like I said, Stephen Paul Wentline also bringing it down as well. 40 laps. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, so that is curious then on if everyone else is going to be good to go on fuel. Nigel Steele down. Oh, Austin Smith is just retired from the race, so that does answer a couple questions.
Nigel Steele was fighting out for the top 10, now going and dropping down to 12th position. Question is, has the rest of the drivers got enough in the tank to keep going? For those that are still in slipstreams, you're able to save some behind your competitors. Unfortunately, for our leader, Brock Morris, he's got no one to play with in some clear air, and to save fuel, well, it's a little bit harder than planned. Gilmet, Mars, and Deke all able to utilize a bit of a tow off one another, save that little bit of 0.1 of liter of fuel, which starts to rack up rather quickly. And if you can eke out an extra lap over the competitor, well, why not do it? It may help you out a big time in the future. So far, 2.5 seconds behind.
A little bit of a hefty smack of the wall is third place Matt Mars, as he is really trying hard to get by Gilmet because he has company. Whoa! Big save from Cody Deek right behind. Oh my goodness, that was nearly the caution that I'm not sure how many really want to see right now. That's going to allow Tankersley to get to the outside, maybe try to get the spot. Tankersley is going to hold the outside, and that might be job done for the 2 car. That it is, and now he's going to try to get by these 2. Oh, Tankersley way wide up into the wall. I have no idea what in the world happened, but Zach Tankersley just airmailed the brake zone. It just went straight into the wall. The marbles were not kind to the 2.
And drama still here towards the final part of the race. So far, lap 80 heading in towards lap 81. And drivers at full speed trying to figure out what they can do. Tankersley gets ahead of Deke. Now needing to really get a pace underneath him as Deke comes fighting back. Cody Deke not going to be holding back. He wants to get past Uncle Tank as quick as possible. Evan Gilmet is further up the road with Brock Morris in first place. Keep an eye on the reviews, but as they nail it past the 68.
Oh, Matt Mars, this might be his one and only opportunity to really get the move done, and he can't. He's got to tuck back, but he's going to send once again, almost making contact. He's going to try to squeeze the 68, and he's going to have to hold on to it. Oh no, the next gen death wobble has struck again for Matt Mars. Oh no, and he's still trying to gather it back up. Oh, heartbreak. Oh no, and this might be caution. No, he avoids going back onto the track. Too much to bring out the yellow, and we stay green. Matt Mars giving it everything she got. Oh, what a job to keep it out of the wall right there. I'm sure Cody Deek saw his life flash before his eyes. Oh, a phenomenal job keeping it from being any worse from Matt Mars, but that is heartbreak for our pole sitter.
Definitely not what he wanted to have, and ran into a bit of trouble. Cody Brewer getting a meatball flag is needing to get sorted out, and not ideally for his race, but so far drivers giving it the last little bit to see what they need to do to get across the line in first place, and every single driver is taking that deep breath of, right, I need to make this happen. I need to be at the top, and how am I going to do it? What sort of magic needs to be pulled out here? Because at the moment, Brock Morse holds the lead by well over 3 seconds. Well, you got Evan Gilmert and Uncle Tank trying to chase him down in second and third, with Evan currently sitting 3.1 as we get meatball for Gilbert.
And nope, that is a false alarm. There is in fact no meatball on the 68.
I was going to say, commentator's curse is not that quick.
Yeah, there is a meatball on the 26. I imagine that meatball has probably been there for some time, with him getting involved in the disagreement, shoving match, relieving yourself contest between OCA and Bullard there early on in the race. But yeah, so far the battle for second rages on.
Well, with that being said, who do you think is going to be able to get the run? I mean, Brock Morris has got a 3.5 second gap to Evan Gilmert and Uncle Tank, but the ongoing fight between Gilmert and Tank is still there, and don't count out Cody Deek. Which one of the three will be able to take second, and do you think Brock Morris can still hold that 3.8 second gap? Whereas the time ticks over, we now on lap 87, heading into 88, out of 100 here at the FMA Next Gen Series.
Yeah, well, what Brock Morris was able to do last week at Iowa, basically stretching those tires that whole final run without a hint of blowing off the right front while driving his way back up through the field, taught me that you never have to worry about the ability of the 05 to nurse a set of tires. So I think the odds are in the two cars' favor of getting up into P2 because of having fresher tires than Gilmet, but again, he's having to fight with a car that has the clean air advantage, so it's not going to be an easy path for Tankersley, and this of course is factoring in Tankersley having to make his way up through the field, kind of nullifying that lap advantage anyway. So I think as long as Gilmet doesn't make a mistake, it might be his P2 to lose here, as they currently just kind of pull away from Cody Deek.
The only one that's really going to be scoring big within the top 5 for the top 10 in points is going to be Brock Morris. So far, leading out the race, leads out the points. That's going to be a good thing for him. But drivers like Evan Gilmert are going to be clawing their way from out of the top 5 in points, hoping that they could be in for the mix. So it's been an interesting race thus far to go and mix things up. The question is, who has got enough left in the tank to stand above all?
Yeah, that is the burning question, as we have 10 laps to go from Gateway. Tankersley continuing to push as hard as he can. As you see Tucker right behind them, but Tucker, he pitted, so he's on much fresher tires, but a lap down as well. In fact, only the top 8 are on the lead lap right now.
As it ticks away, 92 out of 100. Morris, 3-second gap, but the fight's at the back still ongoing as drivers trying to get a little bit more pace. It's 68 under some serious pressure and now trying to open up the distance. So far, drivers have not thrown in the towel. As the two falling down, Uncle Tank not going to be too happy on that one. Gilmert going and seeing a blue flag car, working his way back up through the order and having a stellar drive on doing it. Next one's going to be Evan to allow the pass to happen, going and keeping it all together. As 29, a little further back in this race, is now trying to pick himself back. Nick Tucker, who is now going to lead out the train. Now, I think for Gilmert, this is going to be a happy saving grace as he can get towed along for the circuit.
I don't think so, because now he has the dirty air of Tucker, and while that car is going to drive away on the fresher tires, that's going to be a massive inconvenience for the 68 until he does. So Tankersley has got to strike while they're both suffering from that aero wash. Right now he's starting to climb back up, but not enough to really make Gilmet nervous again.
This is battle for second place as Uncle Tank goes up high, tries to swing it back down low. Uncle Tank not having the grip he wanted on corner entry, getting right up against the wall. And can he keep the drive? Can those two get ahead of the 68? Evan Gilmert a little bit early on the brakes. Uncle Tank going and closing up at a rate of knots. Looks to midline, swings it back down. And I do think this is Uncle Tank throwing in everything he can to chase down Evan Gilmert. Evan's got to just soak up the pressure at this stage. It's got to be part of it. Another late lunge from Uncle Tank. What? Yet again, he is hammer and tongs, throwing it down the inside, doing everything he can. If he can just get that little bit closer, if he can really just put the nose forward, I think he might be able to get second. The question is, can he get it done? Little less aggressive this time round, aiming to get a far better drive. Unfortunately, Evan Gilbert going and opening up a big run down the back straightaway.
Yeah, you saw that big send through turn 3 of the lap before. That cost him a lot of time. Almost looked like it caught Tankersley off guard how much of a run he had, and was just unable to recreate it that time through. You saw a lap before, he got a really nice diamond through 1 and 2 that put him in that position. But now what he gained, he's kind of lost, as we're 4 to go from Gateway. And that might have been the last gas there for Zach Tankersley to get up into second place here. As now that is almost about 2 car lengths. Another big send right there. But you see, Gilmet is going to be able to carry so much more speed off as we got 3 to go.
Tankersley not going to be giving up as yet, trying to close the distance down. Evan Gilmet just soaking that pressure up, knowing that he's got to hold on that little bit longer. Both drivers are starting to tighten up on the steering wheel, that you're going to need to go and claw their hands right off that steering. It's starting to get bends in the shape. This is for the last of the points. This is for second and third here for the FMA Next Gen Series. This is an absolute charge down to the wire.
Yes, sir. 2 laps to go here from Gateway, and once again, that is not a real meatball, but Matt Mars does have a meatball now. But he's not going to have to worry about it. He can still finish with that meatball as we are coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go for Brock Morris. Zach Tankersley not giving it up. And this is the closest Tankersley has been in I don't know how long. This is going to be his last opportunity to take second. Looking to the outside. Can he get the crossover? Oh, he's got the run. He's got the run. Oh, he scraped the wall just a little bit. That's going to cost him just that little bit of speed. What do you do if you're the 68? Here comes the Sin. Oh, he's not going to do it. He gets to the outside, but it's not going to be enough. Meanwhile, Brooke Morris will win at Gateway. And off of turn 2, it's going to be Gilmet holding Tankersley off for P2.
What a finish, and take a look how close it was across the line. Wow, wow, wow. Gilbert Tankersley took the
and they got together there at the end of it. And I'm not entirely sure if it was incidental contact there between our two combatants for P2. So yeah, that is a interesting wrinkle to tonight's race. But meanwhile, you see back to back Brock Morris absolutely adding on to that points lead. He burns it down in the shadow of the Gateway Arch.
Not quite what you want to have, but you got to talk about Brock Morris. A demanding lead start to finish, and Brock Morris going and extending his gap here at Gateway, here in the championship. The FMA Freedom Motorsport Alliance Next Gen Series does not disappoint.
No, it doesn't. As Brock continues to celebrate, we're going to go ahead and get one last break in, and we will be back with our top 3.
Nascar can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it. They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging. And to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Alrighty, we are back, and we are ready to talk to our top 3, although I think we're still waiting for third place. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and get to the final results. Your race winner, Brock Morris from Evan Gilmet and Zach Tankersley in P3. Cody Deek and Jeremy Eshelman are rounding out the top 5. Nick Tucker, Tiffany Ellis, Matt Mars, Nigel Steele, and Mark Osier rounding out the top 10. And take it away with the next 10, Steven.
Well, you got Jacob Brown that Swinton had his go. But that being said, we got Chase Ballard, Kelly Atkinson trying to move forward. And our drivers now trying to really think about their points and where are they going to stand at the end of it. Jacob Brown, followed by PJ Wetline, Cody Brewer. James, unfortunately, spent most of the time in the pits. Austin Smith in 15th. Chase Bullard, along with Chase Zilla, who is down in 17th. Kelly Akron, Mike Ronald, Jay Davis, James Tankersley in 21st with Ryan Peters, and James Ifsel, unfortunately, not onto the grid.
Alrighty, and it looks like we do not have our third place finisher yet, so we'll go ahead and bring in our second place finisher. And Steven, well, why don't you ask a few questions to our runner-up?
Let's go and have a chat to our driver, Evan Gilmet, for a let's have a chat to Gilmet on a stellar run. Mr. Gilmet, welcome to the commentary box, and what a race out there. Not really the dumber and dumbest, but a second place of note. How are you feeling after that?
I'm feeling really good. This track's not really my best. I don't have a lot of laps here. It's tough to beat Brock, but we had really good racing there for a couple laps, and it was a lot of fun.
Now, for the circuit, what was your game plan? What was the strategy behind for your pit stops and also to run in tow with other drivers to try go for the gold?
Well, I knew tires were going to be important. This place eats tires pretty quickly. Gotta just take my time, be patient, not get caught up in the race, and see where it takes me. Hitting at that, I think it was lap 30-ish caution. Once I saw Zach stay out, I knew he wasn't going to be a factor. It's just going to be too far back in. But it was good racing at the end, and I had to come away a second.
Yeah, now we've got to talk about the race at the end. I mean, yourself and Tankersley were door to door with one another, absolutely going at it. I'm sure a big smile on the face for that fight, but also a lot of hard work behind the wheel.
Yeah, race was tiring, and it was super easy to lock up in the corners. I think that's what most of the incidents were for during the race, but challenging track, and I'm excited to move on to New Hampshire.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. Well, before we let you go to enjoy the celebrations after a stellar race, anything you want to say to all of our partners here in FMA, to all the drivers and teams out on the circuit, and most importantly, to all our virtual grandstand here on the Racing Nexus channel?
Yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting. You guys do a phenomenal job. Always enjoy watching back the races. Thanks my parents for watching, Hometown Garage, Banjo Time with Clara, FMA for hosting. They do a great job, and I'm glad this series finally got some praise.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. Well, we look forward to seeing you at New Hampshire. Evan Gilmet going and capturing a bit of gold, a bit of silver out on the top. And what a drive on his part. That being said, James, we say goodbye to Gilmet, but we've also got to talk about Brock Morris, who was a dominating factor from the start.
Yes, sir. Time to talk to the man of the hour. Brock, James in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, it was business as usual for you once again, but it really didn't start out that way. You had some work to do. Wasn't quite the qualifying effort I think we were anticipating.
Yeah, there's a reason. I was quite busy today, and I wasn't sure if I was even gonna make the race. My sister is here for the weekend. Shout out Ava. She made this happen because I was not making this race. And I walked her through over the phone how to log onto a league race so I could just jump in. And literally, I parked my truck and trailer at 8:59. When I came up here, everybody was gridding, and I had not done a single lap of practice. So I just was trying to figure out how to do it as we went. I had no idea this was a multi-groove track. That was a shock to see everybody spread out into turn one. And yeah, I am really, honestly, really surprised and proud of that victory just because I had no practice. And yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
Wow. Like, that's gotta be the ultimate flex right there, is that, yeah, I showed up with absolutely no practice, didn't even know what lines to run, and still took it to everyone. Like, that's gotta be demoralizing for the rest of the field, and really has to make you feel good about that, huh?
Well, I mean, they were keeping me honest, and I just had no idea how to run the track, so I was like, I'm gonna just be ultra conservative in case we get a good long run. And yeah, it's such a weird track too that I don't really like. I don't think this will be a standard or anything, or once we get next week is like New Hampshire, that's a much more common track, and I don't think, like, if it was next week that would have happened.
Yeah. So how was it out there? Was tire wear that much of a issue, like, compared to what everyone was having to deal with last week at Iowa? Was it anything comparable, or did you find it was actually a little bit easier to manage for the most part?
I was much more confident in Iowa because that's definitely a track that I had done in the past and had, a decent little, like, all right, this is the line I should run. Tonight was weird because it was so unknown. The longest run I had done was 15 laps, which was earlier in the race before that final, like, I don't know how long we went, like 50 something lap run. So I was really, I had no idea if we were going to start getting meatballs. I had no idea if, like, pitting halfway through was going to work. Yeah, it was just really scary, but also exciting because I was like, this worked at Iowa. I'm just going to keep doing it and just keep trucking and see what happens. So, yeah, it was quite nerve-wracking, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but I'd say it worked out for you pretty well. Another fantastic win. You stretched the points lead even greater. Any sponsors, plugs, and shout outs before we let you go and get back to the family?
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, Juicy Spider Studios, the High Side Podcast, those guys are awesome. Kettering University, Kettering Esports, and I would like to thank FMA for putting this whole deal on, and then you guys up here in the booth. You do a great job.
Alrighty, we appreciate you, Brock, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
I hope so as well. Thank you, guys.
Alrighty, there is our race winner, Brock Morris, and that, I believe it just about does it for us. But Steven, what are your final thoughts on a heck of a night from Gateway here?
Well, Gateway has always been one to put a challenge out to the drivers, and we got to see it all over again here at Freedom Motorsport Alliance. I honestly can't wait as our drivers say farewell to Gateway. They look forward to New Hampshire Motorsport Speedway and seeing who's going to be able to stay at the top of the charts as we get closer and closer to the end of the championship. Who can sustain the pace and who can stay at the sharp end of the field? James, I don't know about you, but something tells me the drama is not done just as yet.
I'd say you are probably quite spot on with that, my friend. But with that, it's time for us to get the heck on out of here. For my broadcast partners, Kobe Jordan and Stephen Kernick, I'm James Watson, bidding you adieu till next time. Good night, everyone.